Hey guys, and welcome to another 2-Bit review. You know, with Horse still gone, I've really been straining to pick out games to review. It was so much easier with Horse around because he would just fly right in, throw a game on my lap, and I would take a look at it. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be on my own. I really miss Horse. Anyway guys, I remember last year I reviewed Justice League Task Force, and I was feeling a little under the weather to say the least. And I don't think I reviewed that game to the best of my ability. So I thought, why not review another DC game? This one based on a movie. Today, I'll be looking at Batman and Robin for the PlayStation. Wait. I mean the PlayStation. Yeah, the PlayStation. Batman and Robin is a sandbox-styled action-adventure game. It was published by Acclaim and developed by Probe Entertainment. It was released in 1998 for the PlayStation and is based on the 1997 film of the same name. And those are the tidbits, guys. Yep, always promising when a game has little to no information on its development. Yeah, let's do this. Batman and Robin features sandbox-style gameplay with real-time events in an open-world Gotham City. I'd like to step out of this review for a second just to point out a few things. Probe Entertainment, in their previous Batman title, Batman Forever for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, featured the ability to find secret areas and levels by solving riddles from the Riddler. Fast forward to Probe Entertainment's Batman and Robin on the PlayStation, and you're placed in an open world and you're able to cruise Gotham City in the Batmobile while also collecting clues and solving crimes. My point here is that long before Rocksteady's acclaimed Arkham series, which had you solving riddles from the Riddler, collecting crimes at crime scenes, and racing down the streets of Gotham City in the Batmobile, Probe was blazing the trail for Rocksteady in their movie-licensed Batman titles. Now, I'm not saying they did it better than Rocksteady, I'm just saying they did it first. So kudos to Probe Entertainment for having that foresight. Anyway guys, let's jump back into the review. You can choose between 3 characters, Batman, Robin, or Batgirl. But seriously, who wants to play a sidekick? Batman every day for me. Each character has a unique vehicle. Batman drives the Batmobile, Robin the Redbird, and Batgirl uses the Batblade. You travel around Gotham City and complete missions like preventing Mr. Freeze from robbing a bank. Events are not triggered, instead each event occurs at a certain time. For example, Mr. Freeze's bank robbery occurs at 7 p.m. You must find clues and discover the plot with the help of the Batcomputer. If you can't find enough clues, the event still occurs and you fail the mission. Some missions are taken directly from the film's plot, while others were clearly created for this game. Batman and Robin implements the infamous tank controls of the early 3D game era, which worked well for the original Resident Evil games and the survival horror genre in general. But they are terrible for the action genre, as it makes combat and getting around the game's environments frustratingly near impossible. There are 2 modes you can select between in-game, Detective and Combat. Detective, as its name implies, is the mode for solving crimes and interacting with objects in-game. Combat, of course, is for fighting, and I found the combo system is useless. And the best strategy is to just spam kicks on enemies. And speaking of enemies, they are dumb as bricks, but like my kick strategy, they also spam the same attack over and over again, and will deliver some cheap deaths as you progress through the game. One issue I had switching between the different modes is you can't open doors while in combat. This is frustrating as some areas are timed requiring you to rush through. But trying to open a door or press a button, then switching to combat out of detective mode when a thug appeared behind me was way too clunky, on top of the already clunky slow-moving tank controls. The developers should have just made this basic button command for both detective and combat modes. Driving works about as well as detective and combat controls. No, actually, they're a lot worse. The Batmobile handles like Tony Stark on a bender in the Iron Man suit, or the Penguin in his grocery store coin-op Batmobile from Tim Burton's Batman Returns. It's loose and out of control, get ready to hit a lot of walls when making turns or avoiding obstacles. Add to that the infinite number of spawning ice tanks that chase you around the city, or random vehicles that spawn 5 feet in front of you. The draw distance is also extremely poor, but I don't really fault the game for that. The PlayStation's hardware was very limited for this type of game. The majority of the game takes place in the open world Gotham, and you need to drive around to find clues and get to the areas Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy are attacking. It feels like it takes forever to get from one area to the next. I know the development team was trying to make this seem like a huge city, but the atrocious driving mechanics will make it feel like you're stuck in shit traffic rather than exploring a rich and diverse world. Now, I haven't spoken much on level design, and that's because there's not much to say on it. It's not terrible, but because of issues I will discuss in presentation and the horrid controls, you can't really appreciate or depreciate the design. So with some of the worst controls and gameplay mechanics I have ever seen, Batman and Robin's gameplay gets 0 bits.
In this universe, there's only one absolute. Everything freezes.
Out of 4. Batman and Robin actually employs decent sound. The music comes through clean. There is a small selection of tracks from the movie in the game. The ambient sounds overpower the music in the open world portions, however. You also get some one-liners from Arnold's Mr. Freeze, which is on one hand a nice touch tying the game closer to its source material, and on the other hand, the source material is terrible and you are subjected to some of the most abrasively god-awful one-liners in film history. Finally, the alarm ringing sound effect. When you go to stop a jewel heist by Mr. Freeze, an alarm rings. It doesn't stop till the crime is prevented or finished. Did I mention besides the driving portions, this is the other half of the game that you spend the most time in? It's maddening, as the ringing overpowers everything from the music to the sound effects. It really takes you out of the immersion and isn't needed, as you know the place is being robbed. That's why you're there, to stop the crime. It just serves to drive the player insane. That can be its only purpose. So with solid sound quality, a lacking music selection combined with the shit one-liners, and a form of torture in the shape of the alarm sound effect, Batman and Robin's sound gets 1 bit.
You are not sending me to the cooler.
Out of 4. Little surprise here, the graphics also are lacking. Now there is very little light in the game and everything is super dark. Even when I turned my brightness up on the TV, I still couldn't make out a lot of the details. It's just devoid of light. Like the development team knew it was a terrible game, and during production they tried to cover it all up by darkening the game. The plot loosely follows the movie as Batman, Robin, and Batgirl must stop Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from carrying out their plans to control Gotham City. The game takes place in 3 sections. Day 1, which has you chasing Mr. Freeze around town, foiling his jewel heists. Day 2, which has you foiling Poison Ivy and Bane's plans. And Day 3, which has you stopping Mr. Freeze again, but this time the entire city is frozen. The end of the game loosely recreates the ending of the movie, with Mr. Freeze being stopped, Gotham being thawed out, and our heroes making a heroic march off-screen. The plot isn't all that bad. It follows the important story points of the film while incorporating the game's non-movie missions very well. So a decent plot combined with the darkened, muddy graphics, presentation gets 1 bit.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Out of 4. Wow, that just might be one of the worst games I've ever reviewed. Batman and Robin is a testament to the dangers of game developers acquiring movie license for their games, because it's apparent that Probe spent most of their resources into getting the license to the movie rather than putting it into the game. While I can't say Batman and Robin as a whole is broken since you can complete the game, the combat and driving portions definitely are broken, and makes this game a true test of someone's patience and tenacity to beat the game. And to be honest, it's not much fun. The game isn't fun, and at the end I doubt anyone will feel rewarded for their efforts. My final verdict for Batman and Robin is it's not a must-play or own for the casual or collector of the PlayStation. It's not even worth the cost of shipping. Yeah. Anyway guys, that's another review for the books. I hope you join us next month for our annual Star Wars review for May the 4th. Anyway guys, as always, stay safe and play on.